Today's episode, we've got several stories about just some weird relationship stuff going on. I hope you enjoy listening to it as much as I enjoy reading it. In our first story, my ex-boyfriend, 26 male, is marrying my best friend, 24 female. But he just told me that he wished he was marrying me instead, 24 female. I dated my ex-boyfriend from 4th grade to 11th grade, and from 12th grade, I started dating my current boyfriend. When I broke up with my ex, my best friend told me that she liked him for a while, but she didn't do anything since we were dating. She asked if I was comfortable with her expressing interest in my ex, and I told her that she could do anything she wanted. After some time, my ex-boyfriend started to date my best friend. This wasn't as weird as it sounds, since after 12th grade, we all went separate ways. So while they were dating, it wasn't like I was right next to them the whole time. We got time to mature fully and independently, and while some people wouldn't understand, I was glad my ex and my best friend were dating. I knew my ex was a good person, good enough for my best friend, and that they would go along nicely. Me and my boyfriend moved far away during university, and we lost contact with those two for a while. We came back home because of COVID-19, and we found out they were engaged. It was amazing, and it was one of the best days of my life because I was welcomed with good news and got to see my old friends again. I got to have a conversation with my ex-boyfriend, reminiscing and laughing about the past, joking and looking back at the time. I told him that I was so happy for him, and that if he didn't know what to give my best friend as gifts or was having any relationship issues to call me, since I knew them two the best. He laughed, and we reconnected our contacts, which we lost over time. Last night, I was about to go to sleep when he called me, and I answered the phone. He told me that when he was looking back at the time, he wished he could turn back time so we would never break up, and that it would be us marrying. He said that maybe in another universe, we would be getting married, and that he would trade anything to get to do that. He said that he respected my boyfriend, but that we were always meant to be. He waited for my reply, which I didn't speak, and just ended the call. I pretended it didn't happen, but seeing my best friend post about planning her wedding and being so excited is breaking my heart. If I was in her position, I would want to know, but I don't want to destroy their happiness. Would she resent me if I didn't tell her? Would it be better for her to not know? Oh my goodness, this situation is rough. I see two possible scenarios resulting from this. Either one, he's just getting nervous about the wedding and seeing you reinforced it, and he needed to clear his mind, so to speak. Or two, he actually genuinely feels this way, and the best friend may have been a way to keep a part of you close, and he just couldn't hold that truth in and had to tell you after you coming back around. Now, I don't know the situation between you all, but it's clear you are all close. On the subject of whether to tell her or not is a razor-thin tightrope. He could be thankful you said something. She could think you're lying and damage the relationship between not only you and her, but her and him. She could then assume you're jealous of her and are just being petty and childish. These are just personal opinions on how it could play out. Ultimately, it has to be you and only you who decides on telling her. Do what you think is best for her. Man, what a first story. Let's see what happens in the next one. My, 25 male, girlfriend, 24 female, just accused me of cheating on her with my friend, 20 male. I am the lead vocalist of a band, and for the record, I have never cheated or given my girlfriend a reason to think I was. My girlfriend has had bad previous relationships before though. Recently, because COVID-19 has calmed down somewhat, and because we all needed the extra money, we played at a club in the city where I live. I don't want to give too many details here, but my friend, who is the guitarist of the group, is suicidal, mentally ill, and cuts himself frequently. There's not much I can do because he refuses to get help and is stubborn as a literal mule, though it eats me alive daily knowing what he does to himself. After our show, my friend had a complete mental breakdown and started sobbing backstage and trying to reopen the stitches that he has over some deep cuts. I was trying to comfort and restrain him at the same time, so I bear hugged him, and he hugged me back and just sort of let himself go. I was trying to comfort him, and then my girlfriend came running out of nowhere, and she grabbed my arm, pulled me up, and accused me of cheating. As you can understand, I was confused by this, and she accused me of cheating on her with my friend behind her back, and using her for money, even though I earned more than her, before shoving me away and walking off. I got another band member to watch over the guitarist and followed her back home. We argued for hours over the whole thing until we eventually just went our separate ways. She's in the bedroom and I'm on the couch as I write this. Can somebody tell me what to do? I don't want our relationship to be ruined just because I was trying to be a good friend. Okay, there's an update, but before we get into that, I just want to say that your girlfriend sounds very toxic. If you can't show compassion to a friend without her going ballistic, then get her out of your life ASAP. It doesn't matter if your bandmate is male or female, a hug is something everyone needs sometimes. Alright, here's the update. Hey guys, basically my girlfriend is now my ex. As soon as she woke up the next morning, she was immediately on my case, demanding to know if I was ready to apologize or not. I said, apologize for what? And then we went back around the ringer again. I don't know if she was cheating on me or not, nor do I care at this point. She moved out to her sister's place yesterday. Now that I think about it, I can see some signs like hiding her phone away from me, talking to people late at night, things like that. Truth be told, I'm not sure that I would have had the courage to break up our relationship like that if not for the comments telling me how toxic she really was. Anyways, enough about her. My guitarist was taken to the hospital and I left because he managed to tear out the stitches and had to stay overnight. His father drove over and took him back home. His family lives in a different country, which I am glad about because maybe being around his father and other family is something he needs, but I managed to come and see him before his father came. He seemed very out of it, but that was in part because of medications that he's been taking. We talked for a while, hugged, thankfully there was nobody to pull me away from him, and he agreed to call me whenever he could. On that note, the band is temporarily on hold because my friend asked if he could come back to his position when he's in a better headspace, and also because my bassist broke his foot. Figures. Thank you to everybody who gave me advice regarding what to do and my ex, and if I never post here again, then assume that everything's okay. Also, a commenter said something along the lines of, COVID hasn't calmed down. I just want to say that it's calmed down where we live. We're not in the US. I find it likely that she may come back all kind to work her way into your life again. Unless she comes completely clean and admits her faults in this situation, that I wouldn't bother jumping back into a relationship with her. It's also possible she's projecting back on you because she cheated on you and is so scared about it that she is projecting that fear on you. Regardless, glad to see everyone is fine and it's clear that you are a great friend. I'm sure you could use a break from all this anyway. Best of luck in your future. Alright. Here's a real quick one about an insignificant thing about my boyfriend drives me crazy and I don't know if it's a deal breaker. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. We're both in our early 20s. I've noticed he never lets me have the better half of things and it makes me feel like he doesn't really care about how I feel. Like, I always give him the bigger slice of pizza, the bigger cookie. Not just those, but if we make biscuits and only one isn't burnt, he'd take the only good one for himself. When I get a salad and ask if he wants to try it, he'll eat all the toppings off and leave me with the lettuce. Just now, I hadn't eaten all day and made 2 sweet potatoes. Planned to save one for later. And he'd eaten loads already today. He asked if he could have one and grabbed the big one. One was tiny and one was much larger. It just irks me because it's such an insignificant thing, but it makes me so annoyed. I don't even know how I'd talk to him about it because I just feel like I'm starting a petty argument. How can I even approach the subject, or is it a deal breaker? I feel like I'm overreacting, but I don't really know. He's always been like this, and everything else is great. It just makes me feel he's a bit selfish. OP, I would tend to agree. I definitely think he is being a bit inconsiderate and selfish, but if this is normal in the relationship and you haven't said anything before, it makes sense to me. It's not a deal breaker as long as you address it and he corrects this behavior. If he doesn't know about it being an issue for you, then he can't possibly change anything, can he? Have a conversation, not an argument. You could also change your behavior. Stop giving him the good one. Say no if he wants to try some, and explain that you're saving it for later, as in the sweet potato example you gave. Look after yourself and keep your expectations of him realistic. You got this. Honestly, that seemed like a little of an easy one. Let's get into this next one where I'm 20 female, scared of my boyfriend, 24 male, after I saw him beat someone up to protect me, and I feel like a horrible person. I work at a convenience store, so I come home really late at night, about 3:45 to 3:55 a.m. I live in a sketchy neighborhood, so my boyfriend always picks me up and walks home with me. My boyfriend is 6'2", and he's a big guy, so no one messes with him when he walks around. Yesterday, my shift ended 10 minutes earlier, and I didn't want to call my boyfriend and bother him. I just decided to walk home alone, and mid-walk, it's a 15-minute walk home, I started to regret my choice. I knew someone was walking behind me, but I didn't want to look as scared as I was, so I kept on walking. My boyfriend taught me ways to defend myself, especially since I was so tiny compared to him. and I kept repeating the self-protection steps in my head as I ignored the man behind me. I guess I convinced myself that the man wouldn't hurt me, but as I turned to a corner, he put a hand over my mouth and dragged me to the nearest dark spot away from the streetlights. I was so scared I couldn't move. I knew I should call for help or fight back, but my body physically froze. When I got out of it, I tried to scream and I bit his hand and succeeded in making some noise. I could register that I was being hit, but I couldn't feel it at the moment. Since this was on the route to the store, my boyfriend was on it. He heard and rushed to me. He pulled the guy off and beat him. I tried to pull my shirt to cover myself best as I could, but I watched my boyfriend beat the man over and over again. He got me back home and helped me shower and fix up my face. I cried since I was so scared, but I can't forget how my boyfriend looked beating that man up, and I don't know why. The anger in his eyes and just seeing how big and strong he was and how capable he was at beating this man up should in a way comfort me since he protected me, but I'm scared. I'm ashamed of being scared of my boyfriend, and I love him, but it was scary to see someone who was so gentle with me just turn into someone so strong. I never knew he was capable of such force, and I'm scared in a way that I'll see that again. I know I messed up, but I'm so conflicted. I know it's probably the shock of being grabbed by the man making me like this, but I'm scared of what I saw. I love my boyfriend, but seeing him do that right in front of me is going to be hard to forget for a while. How can I get over this? Hey OP, I find your feelings to be very understandable. You saw a side of him that you didn't know existed, but here's the good news. You never knew that side of him existed. Think of it this way. It's a part of him that's locked strongly away in a cage. You've never even seen it before. The only things that unlock that cage are when you and his family are in danger. And once that danger passes, back inside the cage, that part of him goes. While I totally get that part of you being shocked, I think you might find more comfort in it knowing that he's capable of protecting you when it matters most. Alright, on to the next one. I, 29 female, discovered my husband, 31 male, is trying to destroy me financially and mentally. Sounds like a jacked up husband. Let's see how this one goes. We've been married for 5 years and have a son together who is about 3 years old. I know this sounds like a cliche, but he had been sweet and kind. Lately though, he seems distant and argues about life. COVID lockdowns really did damage his mindset more than mine, but he had been already distant since last summer. I wanted to discuss with him about what's wrong and work this out, but today I found a disturbing post on Quora. His laptop was left open and showed the post. I know it was from him because he uses mine and son's full names. In that post, he was bragging about him cheating on me with a 20-year-old female, beginning at the start of 2019. He says that even if I caught him cheating, I could have little choice but to stay for the sake of the family. And in the off chance, or so he thought, that I forced a divorce, he could take my son away forever and I would never see him again, but still be responsible for alimony and child support. Since I have a higher paying job, he figures he can get rich off of me. I was immediately shocked, and I seriously don't know what to do. I fear that I may never see my son again if I file for divorce, but at the same time, I can't trust this man anymore, and my son could be mentally affected by all this. What should I do? Hey OP, I think you should spend a few months pretending everything is great. Smile, nod, put out if you have to, sorry, but give him no clues. Keep it in mind that no matter how great he seems during this time, he is the man who wrote that post and does not love you. During those months, go through his phone, go through his computer, hire a PI, save everything, every post, every embarrassing picture, go to consultations with a handful of best divorce attorneys in town. I can't give you legal advice, but I've heard a rumor that they can't take his half of the case if they have done a consultation with you. Have your direct deposit moved into a new account and absolutely, viciously blindside him. Good luck, and I'm sorry this is happening to you.